You enjoying the view, Turbo? I hope so. I can never see him, so they're always blocking everything. He loves his fish. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. How's everybody? Hope you're doing well. I'm great. It is a beautiful day, gloomy and cool out. I am in the midst of filming the vlog, the long video that'll be out after this one, either 1 or 2 videos after. I don't know if this is going on Monday or Wednesday. And I thought that I would cut what I was doing and focus on one of my projects for its own video instead of incorporating it into the vlog. And the vlog will just be a before and after. Because I'm doing some fun stuff out here. Not everybody wants to watch the really long, like 2-hour long videos, understandably. What I've been focusing on out here up until this point has been getting annuals, perennials, shrubbery, a few trees into the ground. And now I'm moving on to the really fun stuff where I'm placing the tropicals and trying to set up beautiful, just tropical spaces. I do that using my houseplants. But like I said, up until now, it's been getting like the tradescantias and the begonias, the gingers, impatiens, heliconias, all these fun things handled out here and set up. And now I'm ready to move on to the finer details. Having a hard time not getting in here and doing more work. My power washer and my blower are broken. Both are in the shop. They're both being fixed right now, but there is some mess out here. We also had a tornado blow through about 3 days ago, and that messed things up out here. Not that bad though. It was a little one, and it was more over that way, so it didn't blow directly over here. There was some wind damage. It was just a lot of rain, so much rain that it knocked the dirt up everywhere. It also cleaned some dirt out. There was a pile of dirt right here. Now that pile of dirt's down here, right in the area that I am going to be working in. I think I'm going to be able to do some fun stuff with this. So I already placed some of the larger plants that will be in the vlog, but it was just moved this big Dracaena over here, the Fatsia japonica, and the croton. When I first put this croton here, I said, that's not going to work. It looked stupid. And then I backed off and said, you know what, it's not going to look dumb because it's time for the details. When you get the rest of the big stuff in and start filling in all the little nooks and crannies, I want to use my various houseplants and some annuals to fill in this whole entire space so that from right here and over to that Chinese fan palm, we just have color and foliage. I want it to look like it's just been dropped into the jungle. I want it to feel as natural as possible, even though I'm going to be using houseplants and, you know, some annuals. So we'll back it up a little bit. Big croton in the back. I know it looks silly right there. I need to stake it up. I just need to order some new stakes. So it's leaning somewhat. I think the Fatsia looks good in here. It's going to get a good amount of shade, but some morning sun tucked into this spot. And then the Dracaena over here. The trunks light up. They don't light up. That's, you know what I mean. Reflect light very nicely, so it looks good at nighttime. And then even further back, I have a row of just some bamboo palms and one of the Chubby Hubby hollies. And that's only because I was thinking about planting Chubby Hubby hollies back here along this fence line. I thought, well, this would be a good spot to go ahead and stick one, see how it does for a few weeks, maybe a month or so before I make that commitment to trying to dig holes in ground that is very difficult to dig in. It might not be bright enough back there. So that puts me into this spot. I've gone through and I had to dig this entire area out because the garden drains through here. And over time, all that gravel and everything fills in with soil. It's not that noticeable here because we had the storms that washed all the muck back into the trench, but there's about I'd say a 5 to 6 inch trench here. I had a hiccup in the midst of that sentence. I stopped with the digging right around here. I'm going to pick up from this spot and on in the vlog. I probably won't show the trenching in the video. That'll be boring, but landscaping and plant stuff wise, move on from there and over. So the spot's been dug out. I took all that muddy gravel, tossed it up into the back, and then I leveled it out, and eventually all that soil stuff will wash back in here, and it'll end up going back in there. I will be putting a fresh layer of gravel in the very front of here just to help with drainage. So whatever I put in the front needs to be things that are just be easy to pull back out in a week or so when I have all that gravel show up here to spread out everywhere. Yeah. So that's it. Let's get to it. 5 minutes later, I have all kinds of goodies over here to play with. And I need to remember this spot right here is lots of bright morning sun and then afternoon shade. And the further you go over here, the more deep that shade gets, which is why I have like this bird's nest fern. It's a variegated bird's nest fern that is not happy with me, but it does well in this spot. So I'm thinking that that's wrong with the zoom. That's a good spot to keep that. Let it recover from being left in the grow space for a smidge too long this year. And then I have lots of goodies to play with over here. Is this bromeliad? Isn't that beautiful? So this is what I was talking about here. I'm just going to be using houseplants and a few annuals to fill in the gaps and try and make things look fun. And it gives me a way to display some of my plants that are maybe being more problematic. So this Billy, philodendron, dumb. That's not how you say it. Philodendron, not dumb. It has some spots where it was getting too much sun earlier in the year. So it's got some scorch on it. It just happens to move plants outside. I had this sitting over here on the table, and I think that it was just very, hold on, I'll wait for the airplane to pass. I think it's been confused by the type of lighting it was getting on the table. So I'm gonna put this back here. It's gonna go back here where hopefully it will be able to straighten itself out. And I think I'm going to add this to my list. I have a little notepad going in my phone of things that I would like to repot, because I think it could use a repot. You can see that's okay. There's gonna be more in here, it'll stand up. You can see how its growth is pretty wonky. I think it will like that location a lot better. This has a similar leaf shape to it, but it will be out towards the front. What was that? It will be out towards the front of this container, and by being in the front of the container, that's going to catch some of the light in the evening. Yeah, it's a double dot begonia. Isn't it beautiful? I love the double dot. A very nice double dot too. I saw a whole bunch of these at a nursery the other day. I was happy to see them at the nurseries, getting more and more common, but they didn't look this good. They didn't have as many dots. I got extra dots on my double dot. They triple dotted that one. Then I have this anthurium back here. Really pretty one. The nice hot pink. I love these. The ones that, whenever I get these, the ones hot pinks, they're never that great with the foliage, but man, they overserve when it comes to the flowers, that's for sure. Gotta have a hint of color back here with everything, and I was thinking that that would look very nice just above everything, kind of tucked right in the middle there. Leaf shapes are very similar. I don't think that matters. I'm not gonna get hung up on that because I'm trying to think of the end result here, which is going to be a lot of foliage and hopefully some good flowers too. Trio Star, Stromanthe. This one, I overwintered this in the grow space, and then I thought maybe it had a virus on it. And when I had plants with viruses on them, or what I suspect to be fungus, sorry, not a virus, it had some kind of fungal situation going on, I stick them in the sun. And if it's a plant that can be defoliated, then I will stick them in the sun and let the sun handle that. Usually I already cut out the majority of the bad stuff and it's starting to flush out with new growth, and the new growth is looking nice and healthy. So I'd say it's safe to go ahead and work this back in with the plants. It's been sequestered for several weeks. I need to get this into a spot where it's not going to get quite as much light. These can take more light than you would think though. But towards middle of the summer, they just fry if they're getting afternoon sun. And they always do well over here by the fountain. Main thing is I have to watch them, that the leaves don't touch the fountain, because then the water will drain out and that causes the problem, right? I don't want the fountain running out. I like that. I like that color cascading over the front right there. I think that's good. Let's scoot this guy over. Maybe put a rock underneath him. This keeps wanting to tip over. See? Building color. Small details, the big stuff, moving it towards the front. Working towards the front. I love this caladium. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if there's really going to be a spot that I can work that into without doing a big repot on it. I'm waiting for soil to be delivered. But I can set it where I want it to go and then just get it repotted when the soil shows up. This is the Caladium Explosion from Proven Winners, and I just love the colors on this one. I'm not going to rave about it too much because I have gone on and on and on in other videos about how much I love this caladium. Look at that. I like that next to the aqua or turquoise, whatever color you'd call that. I like that. It's a deeper tone, which I think will go very well with something with a deeper tone in the front. And I was thinking about using these awesome dragon wing begonias for the front here. I bought these as hanging baskets to use on my front porch, and they're just so nice. I gotta have them back here. And they have a handle on them, which I will cut off eventually, but I think that would be the perfect thing to have right here. Right in the front, down there in that trench. And then when I get the gravel, I can lift them back out, right? Oh, that's good. Lots of color there. Need to be mindful of that fern that's down there, though. You might want to scoot that over so it doesn't get smothered. It's raining. Is it going to keep doing this? I'm on a roll here. No, I'm going to push through it. I'm going to keep going because there's not a ton left to do here. We're just setting plants down, which I think this is fun. I'm enjoying this. More of a relaxed, easy-going vibe. Not having to plant things speeds the project up quite a bit. I will more than likely pot that into this container, but I want to see if I can find some more first. Because if I can't find some more, then there's a spot where I'd rather have that. Lemon blush caladiums, the big fat chunky leaves on them. Love them. Have two of them. One on each side. You see them right there, right? Right on the other side of Turbo's head. And right there. Awesome, awesome caladiums. Luminous. That's what I was thinking of with the trunks on that Dracaena. Luminous. They reflect light very well at nighttime. I'm going to need to have one of these over here too. I think it's just necessary. I don't know on which side. For now, I'm just going to set it right here so I can think about it. Also holding off on some of the planting because I'm waiting for some more biotone to show up with all that soil that I ordered. Let's scoot. Should I scoot that down or should we squeeze that bromeliad in right there? I think this needs to be, yeah. It probably didn't seem like I did much there, but I swear there was a reason for it. I have this guy right here. I don't know. Did this one have a name on it? I'm trying to remember. It's a Neoregelia Magnifica. It is magnificent, isn't it? I've been testing this one out with the sun. What I mean by that is I had this one sitting out right in front of this pond for about a week. And it got some really bright morning sun and afternoon shade, and it didn't scorch. There were some spots where I thought, oh, that might not like the light there, but it's been okay. So I'm thinking that if I were to move it down further in here where it will get even more afternoon shade, then it should be just fine. Bromeliad. Gonna tuck that in, get this guy adjusted. It can be somewhat hidden in there, but I just don't want too much over the crown of it. I'm talking about the bird's nest fern. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Let's do that. I'm gonna slide a really pretty rock in front of it to help keep it upright. There we go. I have some nice rocks that when I come in here with the power washer and get this cleaned up, I'm gonna set some cute rocks up in front of there. Okay, things are naturalizing. It's the nice about tucking things into the crannies, the nooks. Cranny is a weird word. When you tuck things in, it's when things start to look more natural and less contrived. My goal here is when I'm done for it to not just look like there's a pile of plants that have been stacked up with each other. I'm conflicted with this one. Really conflicted because I do want this over here, the Firefly Farfugium. But these are zone 7 and up. I'm 6B, 7A, and I would like to try it in the ground. But just think about how great that foliage would look coming up right here, right in front of the Fatsia. I think that would look really good there. Fine, can think on that one. And then I have this other anthurium here, which also needs some cleaning up. It has some flowers that are aging out on it that I've stuck into one of my Talavera pots. And that, I think, would be a good detail to put up here. All right, on top of that fountain. Yeah? Okay, fountain's not on. I need to buy some more rock. Over the years, they've just slowly disappeared. But this has clear stone, translucent stone on top. And I have a light down in there too, so this whole thing lights up really, really nice at nighttime. I'll be giving that whole thing a good scrub. The end result here, they'll be in the vlog probably. Okay, I like that. It's coming along. I also have this extra tie constellation over here. I have some extra ties because they were on sale for 15 bucks at this huge size at Lowe's. I don't know if I'm gonna want that over here or not. Maybe, I don't know, because there's a lot of variegation going on over here, so it might be okay to put this back over here. I think it needs to be repotted though, but like I said, I can't do that right now anyways. Okay, I'll do some adjusting on that. I'm probably going to end up planting this heliconia either right here or maybe further back some, because I put a wire vine in the front of this pot. I plant the heliconia right there. Well, one that's going to get in the way with drainage. I do want there to be a slight lip. There you go. A slight lip that runs through here where there's depth with clean gravel in it, so it's easier to wash everything off of the patio. So the heliconia will probably go right about where it is. In the container, I've already planted up one of these Yang bromeliads. I have what's left of a beautiful chocolate plant here. The name just fell, what pseudoranthemum, right there. It got broken during the last tornado and a palm tree fell on top of it. So there's just a nub, but they're tough plants. It'll come back. I also have a purple velvine planted right against the trunk here. And I don't know, I think I probably need to add some sort of netting support to it. But look, it's already flowered at this tiny little size. It's already put up flowers. I have one more purple velvine back here to plant up. It keeps getting knocked over. And I have a Persian shield right here, Strobolanthes. That's going to come up with that beautiful purpley foliage right here. I think that's going to contrast everything very nice, really complement everything very nicely. They're very reflective. They look nice at nighttime. And I'm going to love that purple with that chartreuse green right in front of it. And then you got more purple right here. There's no more down there, but that's okay. Still have a big gap there. So why not? Screw it. Let's just use the other one. If I'm using one over here, then I'm already going to have to go back to the store and get a couple others because these were supposed to go on the front porch. I do think I like that. My concern, the thing with the ties, the concern I have is that they can make things look very contrived, and that's already something that I'm trying to avoid. It's somewhat inevitable, right? Because my backdrop here are pine trees, but they're limbed up way up high. So hopefully it's not that noticeable when you're down here. From far away, it's going to look different, but up close, it's starting to look very lush and beautiful. And just imagine once I have all my equipment, I can blow all this out and get that ditch cleaned out and have everything tied up. It's gonna look real nice. I'm not done yet though, we can do better. I am loving how everything's filling in though. I have another Yang bromeliad that I was thinking about maybe tucking in up here into the light post. Because want those layers, want everything up in the background is nice and big. Need to get some small things up there, but there is still one thing that I need to handle down low, and it's this big hole right here. Got to take care of that hole. I was thinking about this gorgeous begonia, who has some scorch on it since it's been moved out here, but you know, you do what you can. I acclimated it. I thought I had acclimated it for long enough, but apparently not. That's all right though. They're vigorous, and I actually think this one's probably due for a cutback. It's not really leggy. It's been in this container for about 3 years. This will be the 3rd year. Yeah, it's actually still looking pretty full down there, but I could give it a cutback for right now. Let's just pop this in that hole. I think that would go very well. And now got a nice begonia theme going on over here. Changed my mind. Gave it a scoot from right there over into this spot. I think that that's better because I like the layer. Creating layers here, up top and down. Have something that comes out over the other begonias that are down below. Lots of begonias. That's okay, I love begonias. This is a good spot for them. That bright morning light, afternoon shade, they should do really well here. Still need to fill in this spot right here though. Actually, I could probably just turn the Stromanthi. Probably don't need to do that. In fact, it would probably be better for the Stromanthi to be further forward. Not by much, but by a little bit, so that it does get the light. Oh, yeah. That's fine. Still feel like there's a gap there. Orchid, Oncidium. I had thought about hanging this Oncidium up over here. In fact, I tried it out, and I liked it. I think that would be a better spot for an Oncidium with that airflow. Things might be... They may end up being too wet down there for the orchid. I don't think I want to put that there. If this guy, this Farfugium, were about 10 times its size, that would be awesome right here in that spot. But it's not, so that's the pointless thing to think about. There are other ligularias that I could go out to a nursery and get that have really nice darker foliage that are sold very commonly around here. But I don't really want to do that. I have some hostas. Now the hostas would match that too much. Could also just try adjusting the begonia. Just turn it to a direction where there's some more height over here. Sometimes you just gotta move things around some, and that'll take care of your problems. Right there is just fluff them up and fidget with them, and that can make things look a lot better. Oh, that's much better. Just needed to fidget with it. That's perfect. Don't have to put something in there, but I really want to. Where there's a hole, I want to put a plant, but almost everything out here has been spoken for, or it's not the right lighting. These things are for front porch over here, driveway right there. Those aren't big enough anyway, so I want something I can just stick right in there. And ooh, okay, I'll be showing this off in the vlog too. Been waiting for this to flower for a long time. It's a fuchsia called Orange King. Look at the flower on there. That's neat. Talk about that more in the vlog. Very pretty. Neither here nor there. Cordal, no, I already have that Stromanthi there. And I like those in that spot. Kale lily, no, there's not enough sun over there for a kale lily. Nah, I don't think there's enough light for any Justicias or Pachystaches over there. No, there's not. Don't try and do it. They won't do well there. There's that hosta. This hosta, isn't that beautiful? Look at the variegation on that. Stunning. I think this is Miss America, the type, I believe. Is that what they're calling it? Yeah, Miss America. Gorgeous. Gorgeous hosta. Really into the hostas. But that would look dumb with other things that are over there. These are all in the ground. Nothing I can do with those. I have some smaller palms here, some like understory palms. That would add a good texture. I don't really think I want those over there. I have some hanging baskets. There's pothos and chlorophytums over here. I have another bromeliad, a Neo-Rit jelly, but it's a fireball. I don't want to put that in the sun. Mother and daughter croton, but that's too big. And this one, it does so well on this side of the patio. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm letting it stay over here. I have these little guys down here. These aren't going to be very helpful with the problem I'm trying to solve, but I might be able to do something else with them later. And I needed to get these over here, moved into some more shade. Anyway, starting to get more sunny down there on the end where I had these sitting. I have a Livistona rotundifolia, which I think has been reclassified into Cerebus. That doesn't matter, it's neither here nor there. It just looks like a palm to me that's gonna be very prone to rot. So I don't know if I'd want it that close to the fountain. No, I was gonna say I'll grab it and give it a try. I don't think that it would do well here, so there's no reason to do that. I have another tie over here. I don't think I want 2 ties in that spot though. Oh, maybe the variegated leucocasias. They're not very big, but when they grow out, I think that'd be a good spot to stick them in. Here's one right here. They have a really nice color to them. Chartreuse and dark. I think that would look great there. So maybe I just need to let these grow out some, and then I'll pop those in that hole over there. If I were to try and do that right now, they'd just die. There's no reason to. I don't think they would do all that well tucked into that little hole. They need to get some size on them so the leaves can reach up and above everything. Get light, right? Can't have them shadowed by everything down there. And I also think it'd be smart to just stop obsessing about this one gap, even though it is bugging me, and just make it work. Just do some fluffing. Just make it look better, and that's fine. Maybe even just adjusting some of the plants up top can make that more even. And this Stromanthi is going to do a good amount of filling out too. It's going to be very happy in that spot. They always are. Nope, I flipped it the wrong direction. This is part of it. Just constantly turning and twisting things, and then leaves that are touching the side of the fountain, I either cut them off or I pin them down, because these want to hang out on the edge there. That will drain the fountain. Okay, that's back where it belongs. Oh, and you know what? These begonias right here, these are dragon wing begonias. You may notice, hey turbs, they're splayed out. They're very flat. That's because of the greenhouse that they were in, where I picked them up from. Dragon wings, they have more of an upright growth habit to them. They come up and they arch outward, and they're starting to do that. In fact, I can show you some editing trash here. So I already went to the nursery to get some more of those. I was going to splice it into the vlog, but that doesn't matter. This is what they look like from the greenhouse. See, they're more pale. They're really splayed out. This one right here has some upright growth, but also has a wonky, random landscape type begonia in the middle of it. But they're stretched out. They're a lighter green, and the flowers are very pale. It's because they weren't in natural sunlight. These looked just like those just a week ago. They've deepened up with the sun, and their flowers have gotten more dark. They're going to start, and they already are starting. You can see down here on this growth how they're starting to get more of that upright growth habit to them. So these will be taller in this area. They just need a couple more weeks. So that's going to fill that in very nicely. I also was thinking that I could just grab a flower pot and stick a whole bunch of impatiens in it that are multicolored. And if there are gaps in here that are bugging me, then just pop them in to the gaps and you'll have little pockets of color. I have plenty of extra impatiens and pottery. So that's a problem for another time. When I'm doing things like this, I like to have all the various layers with the big plants and then working forward and down with the smaller plants so that your eye has to wonder if you want to be in the area and you just want to take the time to notice everything. That's going to take a moment where you'll be surprised and go, oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, look at that. That's over there. And that thing's over there. Sometimes I'll stick a plastic dinosaur in the mix. You never know. You can do all kinds of fun things just to keep the mind going with the whimsy of having all the different layers and lots of detail. But we've talked about some great options for the spot, which would be one, let that ligularia grow out and put that in the mix. Although I really do want to put that ligularia somewhere into the landscape. The impatiens, always a great way, a cheap way to fill in a gap where you're getting, for me, the morning sun, afternoon shade. They'll do very well over here in this spot. And there are sun patiens, right? If you're getting more sun, that's another option. New Guineas for in the middle. New Guineas would just wilt away and die over here. And I want some of the begonias I could play with too, but I think there's enough going on over here with begonias right now. Nice to have options. Now, this, I want to put something up here. I mentioned the yang over here. I have this extra yang that overwintered in the grow space and did a pretty good job adjusting to the natural sunlight. A little bit of scorch, but not too bad. And it's got a nice hook and a curve to its growth. So that might be pretty easy to just wedge up here, I think. Just kind of tuck it in there. Move that over to the other side. I think that'd look better. right there. I need to take this globe down, give it a scrubbing, and pop all these globes off. Give them all a good scrub. Yeah, I like that. That's me really nice at nighttime. That lighter color in the variegation is gonna really light things up. Which means I have to be mindful to make sure that there's enough stuff going on down here to balance that out. But I think that there is, because we got the Shromanthe, and then have a Yang over here, the lighter Chartreuse on that Caladium, the other near Regelia down there in the corner. Yeah, I think there should be enough to balance that out at nighttime. As far as other things to hang up there to finish it off, I have this Oncidium here, which would look good over here, but I think it's just too bulky. I think it'd be happy here. It's a good spot for it. That nice bright morning sun. And, oh, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. And I do think the orchid would be happy there. I don't really want to look at the terracotta though, but the terracotta is starting to age nicely. What is there? A slug on the bottom. So that's a good reason to hang these up. It has a slug on the bottom. Okay, but there are other spots where I could hang. This guy is getting heavy. Really should be repotted. Something I should do this summer. Also, you know what? This is what I have to do. Look at this Tillandsia. This thing's a stunner. I mean, come on. That's perfect. I'm gonna have to keep an eye on it with the light, but it's worth trying. Okay, all right. You know, sometimes it's easy to do too much. This is, I have to stop. If I keep going, it's gonna ruin it. This is perfect. Look at that. This is beautiful. That Tillandsia is the perfect thing to have over here. That silvery foliage, that's gonna be gorgeous at nighttime. I'll keep an eye on it with the sunlight. I may need to swap some things around and tuck it back further, potentially. They can take a good amount of light, but I don't want to scorch either, especially since it is finally started to bloom. And look at them too. They're the perfect purple. Oh no, it's backlit. Well, of course it's backlit. There's a lamp right behind everything. Look at that, the perfect purple flowers popping out of these inflorescence. It's a stunner. It's a nice one, an old one, so I want to take good care of it. Although it is flowering though, right? So that's something to remember with these Tillandsias. One bloom and then done, and it'll put up offshoots, and then in a few years, those will bloom as well. So as much as I want to protect the foliage, it's all about the flower at this point. It'd be nice to have them both looking nice. Not crazy about the way the wire looks right there, but that's okay. I'll get some Spanish moss, and I'll wrap some Spanish moss around there. That'll look really nice. Those are like the really fine ultra finishing details. This looks good. It'll look better when I get that croton staked up some more. Right now, looks like a hot dog hanging out in a croton bun. Well, figured it out. Perfect solution for this spot. I have some variegated fried eggs I divided up my 2 that I had in the grow space over the winter time. So I have 4 now, and this is one of those little divisions. I think that would be awesome right here. When this grows up, those beautiful variegated leaves. They're longer leaves too. It kind of fits the theme over here, but I do think the roundness will be good with this. I want to hold on to this to put in the ground. Okay, I think it's time to say that this is done, right? I don't need to focus too much on filling in any more gaps over here. There are a few things that I may end up changing. Like there's some clashing going on right here. I don't really care though. I like having both of those plants in that spot. So I think this is good. Now just imagine, fast forward into the Saturday that will be out after this one, where hopefully the power washer will be repaired, and I'll have not a new blower, but a fixed blower, and can go through and really clean all this out. I have a new socket box. This one's broken. It's a box that you put all of your electronics in, and it has a tight seal on the top for outdoor use. And once that new one shows up, this one, the lid's broken on, so it's not watertight anymore. When that new one shows up, I'm going to take all these wires and I'll pop them behind everything. That's just, you know, this is what I was going for. I really like it. I think that this is perfect. Minus the mess, but like I said, that's the finishing detail that we will get to, hopefully by the end of next week's video. The video that comes out after this one. Lots of detail, lots of color. I think this looks frickin' awesome. I'll handle the plantings and everything from this point, moving that direction in that Saturday video. I thought it would just be fun to do something that was just dedicated to a spot where I wanted to put a lot of plants into a smaller space and really utilize the house plants that I have around and mix them in with all of the annuals into spots where they should also do very well while keeping that in mind. I do want to repot that Billy that's back there, that philodendron. I think it would appreciate it. I am hopeful that its growth will de-wonkify in that location. And then I have lots of fun ideas with this container still, and I've decided like I want to devote my my RAM, all my brain thinking to this and everything over there. I'm going to handle that in the next video as far as what to play. I already said that, didn't I? Yeah, it's time to go. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Pardon the mess. It's just part of being outdoors and having constant storms and junk falling out of the trees and downpours and, you know, spring. That's all it is. Technically, it's meteorological, so you know what I mean. I definitely think I have to put that lemon blush in here, though, right? That's the only thing where I'm positive that has to go in this container, because you got the lemon blush, the lemon blush, the lemon blush, and you have just a nice wild scene of color over here. I'm loving that tillandsia up there with the croton in the background, that other bromeliad tucked in up there. Watering these, I should probably talk about this. The bromeliad, I think I may need to adjust it so its cup is facing upward some more. That way it can have water. They need that water in the middle. But otherwise, this should be fairly easy to do. You know, take the hose, spray it down. Bromeliad, same thing. But, well, it's at a slight angle. I might need to adjust it just a smidge more so I can get the water in there easy without splashing water all over the tops of those globes up there. But those globes, they're sealed down pretty tightly, so all that concerned about water getting in there, but I should mention that. I'm not just be spraying water haphazardously at everything that's up top there with all those electronics. That'd be a bad idea. And then fountain's going to get a good scrub. I'm thinking about maybe doing tile on the inside of that fountain bowl. I think that might look nice. Veering off. There it is. Things are looking good. I will be, once I get a fresh layer of gravel down underneath everything, I will go through it. I'm pretty sure I already said this, which is reading. I'll be cutting the hangers off those begonias. I may even go ahead and pop them up into just regular 10-inch containers and take them out of those hanging baskets, because you can see they're already very full. And it's only like June 5th today. So they got plenty of growing season left in them. They're just going to want to keep growing. So probably be best to bump them to something larger. I may also need to put in some slug bait. What I will probably do is sprinkle around pumice first. I like to get pumice around the base of the plants in areas that are very slug and snail prone, which this area is very slug and snail prone, before I do baits, just because of biomagnification. You know, okay, you put out a bait and that may help with the problem, because the slugs, snails, they'll eat it and then they'll die, but then something else comes along and eats that decaying snail or slug. And then it dies, and something comes along and eats whatever that was, and it dies. So I prefer to not do chemicals if I don't have to, but I will. I'll do a very small amount, but usually a good layer of pumice, it helps deter them, and it shreds them up when they go across it. It's pretty mean. DE powder also works well, but things need to be dry. That's not gonna be happening today. Yep, that was it. Those are the final thoughts. Looking forward to getting this all cleaned up and finished off. This area, I'm gonna say, is pretty much done. Finally, haven't put that much time into it. It's been a lot of fun working with it. There's some trailers that's going to put in the front of those containers. Let's back up so you get the view. Yeah, oh, this is going to be so freaking beautiful at nighttime. There's lights in here, there's lights in the fountain, and I have some lights, some little pin lights that I'll be putting in around things so that they light up more in the background, behind everything, with different colors. So much fun. Loving all the color, all the detail. All right, thanks for hanging out. Hope everybody's doing well, having a great day, a great life, and everything's just going absolutely beautifully for you. Comment down below, say hi. What are some fun, creative things you do with your houseplants and your annuals to try and mingle them together? Do you have plant stands or racks? Maybe you have a nice slope somewhere, a nice rock wall where you can stick things. I think that would be so much fun. Need to do some cleaning up over here. That begonia. It's going to recover just fine. It took some scorch. I thought it was getting more shade than it actually was, but it's putting out new growth, and that new growth is going to be more sturdy than that old growth that it had during the winter time inside. All right, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye-bye. Oh, no, hold on. Interrupting Jeff here. I did end up sticking something in there before this video ends. One, look. The sun's out, but it's raining. Fern. Beautiful fern. Silver lady fern. There's dirt on the plants now because I power washed. Got the power washer. And, yeah. So that made a mess. But hey, you get an idea of things being cleaner. See why I have to trench that out? Got to trench it out because everything just piles up right there. So you need to come and dig that out and give everything a wash again. But I think the fern looks good right here. It's nice and lush. It's airy. Good to have near the fountain. The fountain's always going to splatter. Just the way it is. I could dial it down, but I like that level of flow on it. The only thing, though, is that this is a silver lady fern, as I mentioned, which only matters because it is a trunking fern. And, you know, heliotropism. Things may, not all, but a lot of plants will move towards the sun, so I don't want their trunks to get too wonky. So I'll just keep my eyes out for, like, a Boston fern, something like that, to tuck in there. But I didn't want to end the video without mentioning that I did find something to put in the hole. It's a fern. Stuck a fern right in the hole.